Hey, what's up, Los Angeles? What's up, USC Trojan fans? Ryan Dyrett here from the USC LAFB show and LAFBnetwork.com. Been about a week since we had our Salute to Troy show. Obviously, a lot going on in our city. So we've kind of been all over the place, and we are going to be recording another show where we get deep into. There's been a lot happening, obviously, with USC as there always is here in the next few days. But I at least wanted to jump on the horn and just give some thoughts on some new developments in terms of transfer portal, linebacker coach, and the GM search, as there has been some new developments and all that stuff. So just this will be a nice quick one, easy to digest, and then I'll be back on with Coach and Madman here in a few days. We can really kind of dive into all the new stuff. But first and foremost, really hope everyone out there is safe and okay. You know, I live up in Pasadena, so me and my family did evacuate last week when things really got crazy on I think it was Tuesday night. We were fortunate, as you can tell. I'm back home now. Outside of smoke and wind damage, you know, nothing really to our property was anything that can't be fixed pretty easily. Others were not that fortunate. We have good friends that live just a few miles down the road from us, lost everything. Some students in my daughter's school lost everything. Her school was inches from burning down. Houses just around the campus of where my 4-year-old goes to school were burned down. So I know many out there are hurting and recovering, and you know, my prayers go out to everyone. We have, if anyone's interested, we have created a kind of a collaboration shirt. I'll post the link below. It is LAFD, LA Fire Department, and LAFB collaboration. All sales of that shirt will be donated directly to the LAFD Foundation and Pasadena Fire, as well, just to help our courageous firefighters, men and women, and first responders. So couldn't be more proud and thankful for all those people that are keeping us as safe as we can. But yeah, just know that, you know, we're praying. I went through it. All of us are going through it. We all live in this city. We're all Angelinos. And so it's great to see what's great to see is how our communities have come together. You know, just up the street from where I live, like on our block, is one of a donation, basically a parking lot created into a donation center, and the amount of volunteers and donations that have showed up over the last 4 or 5 days has been inspiring. So makes me proud to be an Angelino, and all this loss is tough, and you know, my prayers go out, but hey, we'll rebuild. We'll be stronger than ever, and it takes us being a community to get through things like this. So I appreciate it. Everyone that's reached out to me, had a ton of people reach out, knowing that we did have to evacuate. So that means the world to me. But we are safe and very fortunate, and I'm just very grateful and blessed for us. But you know, a lot of people we know are not that fortunate. So we'll be doing everything we can. And if you want to help out, obviously there's many avenues to do that. If you want to buy a shirt, just know we're not taking anything. It's not anything to capitalize on. All of those sales will go directly to help the LA Fire Department and the Pasadena Fire Department. So wanted to say that first. And please reach out, Ryan Dyer at LAFB on Twitter if you want to just reach out, chat, or if you need help, or feel free to comment anywhere you're listening, whether you're on the USC LAFB YouTube or on LAFBnetwork.com. Any of those places you can comment, leave information. But if you want to just send me a DM, Ryan Dyrud, LAFB on Twitter, or you can email me, ryan.dyrud, D-Y-R-U-D, at LAFBnetwork.com. So praying for all you guys. With that being said, some stuff going on at USC. Rumors of an LB, a linebacking coaching hire, swirling. The GM search continues. Rumors that potentially is getting finalized in the coming days. Some transfer portal ads. Let's just quickly do the transfer portal because I'm sure I'll dive into it more with Coach and Madman. But yesterday, Prince Strachan, wide receiver out of Boise State, 6'4", some say 185, some say 215, depending what website you go to. Sophomore. I think this is a good transfer. You know, the USC has had their eyes on a lot of receivers. You need to add some depth, obviously, with the losses of Zachariah Branch and Deuce Robinson and Kyron Hudson, Kyle Ford going to the draft. And so they needed depth regardless. I think it wasn't a priority, knowing what we know about kind of this offseason with NIL, with, you know, the big four being Branch, Robinson, and then Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon. in today's college football, you can't pay everyone, and now it's an NIL game, right? It's a pay game, so they really had to solidify who was going to be their top guys, and then everything else is kind of depth adds and pieces around, and obviously that goes with the rotation as well. I know that was a big conversation this season of the receiver rotation, and so I think it's been established that Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane are the top two dogs, as they should be, and everything else is kind of a addition in terms of situational football, personnel groupings, and just depth. And so I think this is a good depth piece, big body, as I said, 6'4", potentially 200 pounds, and still young, only a sophomore. So has a lot of eligibility left to get in the system. So they needed to add someone. I know people probably thought they were striking out on receivers, but in my conversations and my just personal opinion, I don't think it was a priority of adding any specific talent, because we know who the guys are, and they also are adding. They have a young Xavier Smith in the 24 class who has a lot of talent, and obviously added 3 in this class as well. So you just needed some more versatility and depth, and so I think this is a good one. Today, as of this recording, which is Tuesday, Bishop Fitzgerald, starting safety from NC State, also only a sophomore, transfers USC, 6'1", 195. This is a really good one. As it's been stated many times, outside of Kamari Ramsey, USC is losing every starting defensive back. DeCarlos Nicholson might be coming back with this new JUCO rule of another year of eligibility. I haven't heard confirmation. I want to say from what I've heard is it's looking likely, but as far as I know, it has not been confirmed. So we'll just go with Kamari Ramsey's the only returning starter. And at safety, you have a lot of talent there in the youth and who they've recruited, and I know they're excited about guys like Christian Pierce. I think has a lot of excitement. Just last year, Marquise Gallegos and Jarvis Boatwright, good recruits. This recruiting class, you get Kendarius Reddick and Stephen Miller, 2 guys that Lincoln Riley has publicly stated his excitement for. But you want to bring in some experience as well. And similar to last year when they brought Akili Arnold over, he would just instantly became a team leader. And I think Kamari Ramsey would say helped his game improve a lot. So, still a youthful guy in Fitzgerald, as I said, only a sophomore, but brings over like 55 tackles, 8 PBUs, almost double-digit tackles for loss, 3 interceptions. So really high production, a guy I think that can play in the box close to the line of scrimmage to allow Ramsey to be that true kind of center field safety and gives you some versatility, as we know defensive coordinator Dan Lynn certainly loves. So another great addition, brings their transfer portal class up to 10, I believe. I would definitely expect a few more when you look at maybe potentially another secondary piece. I would say potentially another offensive line piece. Don't necessarily. You're at the point, I think, with this 10 class, I think you're okay if you don't add more, but I think you can still add 2 to 4 more players, whether they're starting caliber or depth pieces, because again, this is a make or break it year for Lincoln Riley. And so as much as you want to develop guys, like you also need quality starters at day one, which I think some of these young guys can be, but do you want to put all your eggs in that basket in this make or break year? So I think we'll still see some movement in the portal, and especially, spring session, I'm sure is going to be wild too, knowing how college football is and how these negotiations change with NIL. And, we saw Emmanuel Pregnon. I won't get into that too much, but he just committed to Oregon, and we know that they offered him $150K based on our friend Scott Schrader reporting out of On3. He agreed to a new deal with USC. He came back, obviously played in the bowl game, and then Oregon, while he was not in the portal, whether it was Oregon or an agent, I'm not confirming that because technically a program can't directly contact a player, but there's no rules or regulations on third parties. So whether they contacted agent or an agent was just playing greedy, whatever, somehow an Oregon offer came in that was $150K more. Pregnon entered the portal. Obviously now is going to Oregon. So I say all that because I'm sure the spring portal window is also going to be very a lot of movement. Hopefully no one leaving SC. I really like this roster where it's at right now. I think, you see the guys that left, and there was a lot of conversation about that, the talent, the 5 stars that left. But I think when people digest it and kind of see the state of college football right now, I don't think it was any program nerve-wracking departures. As great as Deuce is, as great as Zachariah Branch could have been, the Sam Greens of the world, a lot of good players. Manuel Pregnon probably is the biggest one, if we're being honest. But I think when you see the state of college football and what they're building in the roster, I think it's okay, but there'll be a lot more movement. So let's shift over to the new hires. I'll do GM quickly because I don't have a ton of intel on that. I have heard a name to watch out for. It was said to me by a source, and to keep it under wraps, keep it quiet. I'm not in the business of leaking things, and especially when I don't have it confirmed, so I won't throw the name out there. But certainly, from what I've heard, they're looking at NFL caliber GM talent or NFL resumes, I should say, looking directly in our backyard here with the Rams, who are obviously shout out LA Rams. You can if you follow the Rams, check out our Rams show, Rams Skinny, or just Rams LAFB on YouTube. Just put up a new episode today, but dominant performance with the Vikings. So certainly looking in the Rams organization, Chargers, but the net has been cast far and wide. A lot of conversations going on, but I think that hire will happen. If it happens later, it'll be because the person they're targeting is in a deep playoff run, in my opinion. So, and based on kind of what I've heard. So I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think Lincoln Riley is taking that hire seriously and knows the gravity of what that position means now in college football and the necessity of it and the ability to have a background in contract negotiation and talking to players involving money and not just the old way of college recruiting. And so I think that it's being taken very seriously, and I think there should be excitement about what this new role will be within the USC program. So I have heard a name that could potentially be the hire. I've heard others that there's conversations are. I'll just say I would be excited about where the direction of that is heading. Linebacker coach. Last coach. Well, I got to talk about Chad Savage too. I'll talk about that at the end. Tight end coach, who we haven't talked about yet, and great hire. I mean, home run hire. Okay, I'll just talk about it real quick. Those that don't know, I'm sure everyone now knows at this point, but Chad Savage, formerly wide receiver coach at Colorado State, hired as the new tight end coach and inside receivers coach. But he was great. He was a good developer in terms of receiving, but was known for his recruiting prowess and specifically built a really strong pipeline in Southern California for Colorado State. I'm from Colorado. I was going to go to Colorado State. So all my buddies, I have a lot of buddies from high school that they went to Colorado State that pay attention to the football program. Talked to many of them, and they said, Phil Savage is a star. Chad Savage is a star. So that was a home run hire. I think in terms of development of the tight end room, it was a good hire, a solid hire. I think in terms of recruiting and getting back to recruiting California like all fans have been asking for, it was a knock the ball out of the park home run hire. Talked to many people in media, friends, heard other people talking about it. The relationships he's built in Southern California with high school coaches sounds like it's fantastic. If that was the one missing piece for Lincoln Riley and recruiting in SoCal, it seems now they have that. And he has just done a phenomenal job. I mean, recruiting for Colorado State's a Mountain West school. He was a 3-time Mountain West Recruiter of the Year, 3 years in a row. And especially in this age of NIL, I mean, you're up against a lot in Fort Collins, Colorado State with not a lot of history. Great campus, fun college. I was going to go there, like I said, but I mean, it's hard to recruit up against even schools in the Mountain West, probably like Boise State, San Diego State probably have bigger NIL. So he did a great job, and that was just a home run hire. So we'll talk more about it with Coach and Madman, but I can't be more thrilled with that hire, and I think fans should be excited. And again, the recruiting prowess that he has already in SoCal, and now he has the USC brand, the USC history, the USC budget. I mean, the sky is just the limit now for what he can do. And again, that's not just recruiting tight ends. Like, he's going to be involved in a lot of the recruiting that goes on with this entire team, which I think is huge. So being able to add him to the already recruiting power of Coach Henne, already the recruiting power of Lincoln Riley, and then if they can get this GM hire right, which I think they will, and then if the donors start getting on board better, you may never have Oregon money. Like, let's be real. USC may never have Oregon money. They may never have Ohio State money. But they can certainly be top 3 in the Big Ten in terms of money allocated for football. No doubt. And if you're top 3, then you can compete. That's all you really want, right? Like, we can sit here and say SC should be number 1 in everything. Not that, and again, they should be competing for national championships. But you don't have to be number 1 in NIL to compete. But you need to be top 3. You need to be top 15 nationally. So if they get all of that together with the recruiting prowess they have, I think, the sky can be the limit. We'll see what Lincoln Riley can do in terms of coaching if he has all that support, which clearly every coach needs. So, lastly, linebacker coach. Rumor started swirling on, what day was it? On Sunday, I want to say, that a hire had been made or a handshake agreement had been made with the linebacker coach. The rumor I heard personally from a source, but I'll say it because a lot of people out there have already put the name out there, is that Navarro Bowman. Now, it hasn't been confirmed. I am leaning towards that's probably not the hire, considering here we are on Tuesday. He's the current Chargers linebacker coach, for those who don't know. They lost their game on Saturday. Nothing has been announced yet. It could be still contract negotiation and whatnot, so I'm not saying it isn't. But I would lean a little bit more towards it's not. If it was, I love it. Here's a guy, 4-time All-Pro player. Just getting into the coaching game, but as a position coach and coaching the position he played as an All-Pro, and now he's coached a year at the NFL level as that position coach, the linebacker coach for the Chargers, who he was coaching young guys at linebacker. Deion Henley, just a second-year player, became a starting linebacker and had a fantastic season. It would be a great hire, I think. So that was the rumor, all ravaging through Twitter, who I was told as well as a name to they've heard about and potentially as the guy. Nothing confirmed yet, so that's just the rumor going around. Now, me personally, this is just my opinion. I haven't heard anyone say this. But the team I would watch, I think at this point, it's pretty clear that it's going to be an NFL coach. Now, potentially, is it someone on Notre Dame or Ohio State? Potentially, as they are playing in the national championship. So it could potentially one from those teams, but I'm leaning more towards it's an NFL guy coming back to the college ranks. And so when you look at the teams that lost this weekend or the teams still playing, obviously defensive coordinator Danton Lynn has ties with both the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans, who are still playing the playoffs. But when you look kind of through that coaching roster, wouldn't be shocked, but there's no one I see that makes sense coming to USC from there. The team I'm watching, and I mentioned one name in an article I wrote 3 weeks ago about top linebacker candidates to watch, would be the Washington Commanders, who just won their playoff game this weekend, so they're still in it. So coach isn't going to leave right now in the middle of a playoff run. But when you look, there's 2 connections here. One, Danton Lynn's dad, Anthony Lynn, is the running back coach, run game coordinator for the Commanders. Obviously a tie-in specifically there. Like, your dad is a coach of an NFL team in a playoff push. You're going to have some good intel and some good connection there. You look at 3 names on this defensive staff. The most powerful and probably name that would get fans most excited is their linebacker coach, Ken Norton Jr. I don't got to go into the resume of Ken Norton Jr. Everyone knows how great of a coach he is. Has been with SC, obviously has ties with UCLA as well, a lot of ties to LA in general. Can recruit. So he's been in the college ranks, he's been at the NFL ranks, he's been with Pete Carroll, he was up in Seattle, been a defensive coordinator. Resume speaks for itself. Ken Norton Jr. would be a home run. The ties with Anthony Lynn being there together, obviously there's ties there. That would be the home run hire that is on the staff. 2, a name that maybe might not get fans as excited, but John Pagano is a senior defensive assistant on this staff. Another guy that's been a linebacker coach, been a defensive coordinator, a lot of experience. So wouldn't get fans excited, but certainly I think would have the resume to do this job. And the third one, which might not have the resume, but could get people excited, is their assistant linebackers coach and pass rush specialist. And that is Commanders' great Ryan Kerrigan. Now, not a lot of coaching experience, but similar to Navarro Bowman, is an NFL legend who's played the position, has the name recognition of young kids, and has ties to maybe the DMV region and other areas that he could help recruit in that maybe the rest of the staff does not as much. So, this is all just my opinion, but the team to watch for the linebacking hire, in my opinion, is the Washington Commanders. When you look at those, the ties with Anthony Lynn being Danton Lynn's father with the staff, and you look at John Pagano, Ryan Kerrigan, and Ken Norton Jr., all three names that I think fans would get excited about. Again, John Pagano might not get people super excited, but if you really look into his resume, he's certainly qualified. It might be a DC, if he doesn't end up with SC, might be a DC next year anyway. But Ryan Kerrigan, up and coming, has the name recognition, and obviously Ken Norton Jr. would be the home run. I mean, you can't do much better than Ken Norton Jr. in terms of resume and LA ties and all that. So, again, rumors out there are going all over. If it is Bowman, great. I would be not opposed to that hire at all. Ken Norton would be the knock out of the park. Pay attention. Washington Commanders. That's the team to watch, in my opinion. Again, ties with the Texans and the Ravens when you look at Danton Lynn. This business is all about relationships. Sometimes, I mean, some hires happen out of nowhere. You just kind of see a guy that put good X's and O's on tape, give him a call, do an interview, you hit it off. Similar to Lincoln Riley and Danton Lynn. I don't know how much ties they really had outside of playing each other when Danton Lynn was at UCLA. But a lot of other hires happen with relationships. And there's no greater relationship, really, than probably father and son. And when the father's coaching with three very viable candidates for a linebacker position at USC, stars kind of start to align. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think. Comment below. If you're on YouTube, comment below. If you're on the website, you can comment. We have a new comment thing. You can just add right in there. You can hit me up on Twitter, Ryan LAFB. Obviously, this will be posted on LAFB Network. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel at USC LAFB, we would certainly appreciate it. Help us keep growing. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, obviously hit that subscribe button for Salute to Troy. So thank you all for hanging out. Everyone, please be safe. Continue being safe. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to help at LAFB. We're all family, and we want to help everyone as much as we can. So thank you all for the outpouring support you've shown me. And if I can pay it back in any way, I would absolutely love to. So let me know if there's any way I can help. But everyone, thanks for hanging out. We'll be back in a few days with Coach and Madman, and we'll break. I'm sure a lot that I talked about will break down even more, but I'm sure there'll be some new stuff because SC's always breaking new. Maybe we'll have a GM and linebacker coach by then. So anyway, thank you all. Fight on. Talk soon.